Why did Superman cross the road?
Oh, geez. I don't know.
To get to Lois Lane.
Okay.
Welcome to the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. Thanks for being here for Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. We're so excited that you're here. How are you, my co-host, Mr. Signature King?
I'm good. I didn't do any St. Patrick's Day festivities, but that's okay because I'm not really that
do
Irish.
Them tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do them tomorrow, even though I'm at work. But nice weekend. Wish it was longer.
Nice. I have found out that I am allowed to wear my She-Hulk shirt tomorrow to work.
Nice.
So, and I'm going to.
Very, very green.
Yes, very green. So, did you make it to any do any comic hunting or the LCS this past week since we've seen you? Or
no,
were you on the internets ordering stuff?
Yes, okay. Yes, I was.
Right. Guilty as charged.
Yeah, and some of that ties into the adventure that I'm going on in mid-April.
Okay.
There are some books that I had to get to make that adventure worth it. So,
sounds cool.
I'm very excited.
Awesome.
It's going to be a great time.
Cool. So we've been very excited on Fanboys the last few weeks. We've just been bam, bam, bam with guests, and we have another great guest tonight. This is going to be so awesome. First time guest that I'm so excited to bring on here. It's too bad that our guest is so shy. It's Joel the Geek. Welcome to Fanboys Live, Joel.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, it's always great to have you here. Got to say from the very beginning, love the Titanic-sized Crisis poster behind you.
That's massive.
I don't know. It's not that big.
It's you can't buy a frame in that size.
I did. Custom.
You did.
Frame.
Well, custom frame, yeah.
Is that like a poster? Is that a special poster from somewhere, or
the Alex Ross commemorative print he made for the 25th anniversary of the Crisis?
That's awesome.
They actually do call it Titanic sized.
Yeah.
Oh, they do. Okay.
They do, because it's bigger than your 24 by 36, obviously.
Yeah.
They've only done one other post. DC has only done one other poster in that size. Do you have that one, or do you know what it is, Joel?
No.
Okay. They took some Phil Jimenez art that was...
Don't tell me that. Oh.
It was 3 connecting covers that was a Who is Donna Troy poster.
Yes, I have those books. Oh my God.
You know which ones I'm talking about.
Yes.
That is in the same size as the Crisis poster.
Oh, I don't need that in my life, but I want it.
Joel's going on eBay.
Oh my God. So this actually comes with a key. Like, it comes with a paper that shows you every character that's in it, and I lost it.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so I found Alex Ross's website. I emailed them, and they're like, "No, we didn't make that. We don't know who made it. If you find out who made it, they can probably send you another one." But yeah, it's got every character that was in the DC universe leading up to the Crisis, and it's like he made all these different things. There's like triptychs about different things and different people, and like if you can see, there's Flash running across the front, all the different Flashes running across it. So it's just a great. I've had it since I bought it at San Diego Comic-Con in the early 90s, and I've had it everywhere I've lived.
Nice.
Going to San Diego Comic-Con in the 90s? Would you say you said early 90s?
I started going to it in about 88.
Oh.
I went every year up until about 97, and then the last time I ever went to it was in 2006.
Man, like that was when like it still wasn't huge. You know what I mean?
It was.
Like, you could still just go.
It was huge, but it was huge for comic book people.
Yeah.
And when they started doing Batman and they started doing all the other movies and the TV shows, that's when they started to realize, oh wait, let's bring this other aspect of the geekiness in. And so,
could you get tickets as easy or easier than it is now, or?
Yes, you could get tickets easier because back then it wasn't online. It was still like all non-digital. So if you wanted to, if you were at the con the last day, they had a booth where you could go and you could buy next year's tickets.
Oh, see, you can't do that anymore.
That's what I did. That's what I did for so many years. Was I would just go to that booth buy the tickets for next year and have them ready to go and be cool.
Don't you have to win a lottery now? You have to win a lottery just to be able to purchase a ticket.
It's a close thing. It's a queue. It's a virtual queue you go into, and it's on a Saturday, and it starts at 9 a.m. And it's in the. I think it just happened 3 or 4 months ago, maybe. And there's two of them. There's the people who've been gone before. They get a link to go in and buy tickets before, and then like a month later, it's anyone else in the world. And then there's another queue line to get hotels near the con. So like it's this whole.
That's stupid.
It's insane. It's insane. So
that's stupid. It's too big. Like I want to go, but I feel like I'll never be able to.
Yeah, I live in the Pacific Northwest. We have like 5 cons up here. Much cheaper, much easier to go to. I just went to one last weekend called Emerald City Comic Con. There's an anime one coming up next month. There's one in June that's here called Washington Summer Con, and then there's one in Portland called Rose City Comic Con that I go to as well.
Rose City. Okay, I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So Joel is our special guest tonight, and I also want to point out, and we're going to talk about the chat in just a moment, but Joel is 4 subscribers away from 700. Thank you, Christina, for dropping that link. So the link is in the description for this video as well. So if you're not subbed to Joel, get on the bandwagon. By the time the show's over with, you're going to want to be subscribed to Joel.
I've got like 3 videos coming up this week. 2 of them have to do with Emerald City Comic Con. So.
Oh, nice. So yeah, con fans, you want to be in the knowledge and click on that notification bell. Let's say hello to the chat. And first of all, if you're watching on the rewind, which many do, we appreciate you spending some time with us today. The greatest DC comic show on YouTube. In our live chat, tailgating very early before everyone else was John's Comics with Kids, who's excited about the Batwoman pick tonight. And we have more than just Batwoman, but we do have Batwoman tonight. And then we'll say Muabunga to our White Tiger, cool, calm, collected, who kind of lives over in that vicinity, or at least that part of the United States that you live at, Joel.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He actually lives near John.
Okay.
I know that that's not your same state, but it's closer to you than it's closer to the rest of us. Christina, thank you. As I mentioned you before, Modinaire Extraordinaire, and thank you for saying that as well, too.
Absolutely.
We have the man himself, double duty, in the chat as well. Joel is here tonight. And Tony, Old Wolf 65, has stopped by. I'll have to take a look for that. If you remember anything in the future, Tony, just hit me up and let me know, or drop a comment on today's video too, so other people can see it as well. So we appreciate that.
It might be Near Mint Collector. He does a lot of stuff on omnibuses. It might have been him. You never know.
I would love to.
I know him. I've met him many times. He lives near me. We go to cons together. So that's kind of nice.
Nice. I just realized West Coast Avenger lives near me too, just recently.
Okay. That makes sense. You know, West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably live by the Great Lakes Avengers.
That's true. Yeah.
But Tony, sometime when you guys finish up your D&D campaign, which they usually do, and not you, Tony, that Old Wolf, Tony.
Okay, yeah.
We would love to get you on as a guest as well for Fanboys sometime.
Yeah, bring him on.
So,
and I know he's got some stuff that I got. He got some stuff in an auction that I did. So I don't know if he's ever gotten that stuff. He never messaged me, but Old Wolf, I know you have some stuff that you got for me.
Okay. So we'll continue acknowledging the chat as they continue to come in tonight. We'll segue over to the DC Comics news. Seems to be a quieter week again, wouldn't you say, Signature King?
No, I would not.
Okay, then go for it, because you got a lot more than I do.
Major casting news for upcoming DC Lanterns.
Okay. I know one of them.
Jason Ritter has been cast as an unnamed role. There's a lot of speculation he could be playing Necron.
Why not Kyle Rayner? I mean, I think he'd be a great Kyle Rayner.
Yeah, I would say no to Kyle Rayner, because for several reasons. One, Jason Ritter would make a terrible kind of Rayner because, one, Kyle Rayner is Hispanic. His parents are from Mexico.
Right. I forgot about that. Awesome.
So, like, I probably would, maybe look to hire someone Hispanic. But I don't feel like the personalities vibe really. But that'd be my main one. But I also don't see Necron. I can't see him as being Necron, or even the voice. He doesn't have like a Jason Borland-esque.
Right.
or Josh Brolin. I mean, he doesn't have like a Josh Brolin type voice. But there's a lot of people saying that he could be Dr. Hind.
But do you mean Josh Brolin? Did you mean Josh Brolin?
Yeah, sorry, I meant Josh Brolin. Yeah. But yeah, he could be either Necron or Dr. Hind, the big brain guy. That I could see. That makes sense to me. But they haven't released anything yet. There's nothing official. They just said he's in the show. He's a semi full-time reoccurring character. So we don't know. What was yours last time? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say that for the Lanterns, a female has been cast that I know from the TV show And Just Like That. Did you watch that show, Joel, And Just Like That?
No, I didn't.
That's a spin-off of Sex and the City.
I heard, yes.
Yeah. So you can go ahead with that, Tony.
What was her name? I'm trying to remember now.
She played Lisa Todd Wexley on And Just Like That, LTD.
Gosh, I can't remember her name. Or who she's playing in the show.
She's playing someone's mom.
Oh, that's right. She's playing Jon Stewart's mom.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I remember now. And I forget the character's name, but they also cast Garrett Delhunt. It just says he is a villain, but it didn't specify what. So Garrett Delhunt, an actor I'm unfamiliar with. And yeah, it just says he would be playing a cowboy-esque villain. He was in Last House on the Left, Looper, and HBO's Deadwood. So who knows? It just says he's a villain.
Hi, Gore.
I don't know if Aisha's going to be in Lanterns. We'll find out.
Garrett Delhunt from a few different shows. He might make a good Necron. Ooh.
He would be a better Necron. I would agree. He would be a better choice versus Jason Ritter.
Right.
I almost said Bob Ritter, but I was like, wait a minute. That probably doesn't make any sense. There is a Booster Gold series in the work, but it got seriously delayed because
I wanted to be the voice of Skeets.
Yeah, the person who they were going to cast as Booster Gold accepted and then rescinded his acceptance. So,
who was that? Do we know?
I don't think they made an announcement. They just said the main actor was going to have to be recast. So that's a shame. Another time, Kristen Dunst would be great. Yeah, I could see that. Well, yeah, maybe the voice. I mean, I don't know if they're going to go with practical or CGI effects, but apparently the Lanterns season 1 TV show is taking place in Nebraska for whatever reason. The Lanterns are investigating a seriously galactic scale impacting murder that happened in the faraway fantasy land of Nebraska.
Right.
Those killer crop circles.
And
as a native Iowan, I couldn't be any more offended.
Well, maybe they'll film Nebraska. Maybe they're filming in Iowa, but it's replacing Nebraska.
I think they're filming in California. They're just calling it Nebraska. And every time they do that, if you look in the background, like The Office, for example, it takes place in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And then when they go outside, that's a palm tree. They don't have those. Yeah, I'm an hour from Scranton, and I've never seen a palm tree.
It's like Arrowverse was filming in Vancouver in BC, British Columbia. And every time I go up there, I'm like, oh, yeah, there's that. Oh, that's that thing. That's that thing. And there, oh, there's
Yeah, I think I saw a couple palm trees in Star City. Yeah. But they filmed it in Vancouver. But
well,
who
Star
knows?
City's supposed to be Seattle. It was always weird when they showed things that were like...
Yeah, it's the DC version of Seattle. Yeah. Yeah, but I think DC is kind of steering away from that. There actually is in New York City now when there never used to be.
Right.
And Kid Flash is now the hero of St. Louis, not Keystone City anymore. Which I thought Keystone City was in Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania is the Keystone State. Whatever.
Fascinating.
Yeah, they're changing all the time. Because I guess Marvel does it. Marvel doesn't have any really fictitious cities. Everyone's like in New York or Los Angeles.
Or New York or Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, New York. Yeah.
Or Hell's Kitchen or maybe Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, a lot of Hell's Kitchen. Did you ever read the Batman Daredevil crossover?
No.
They did one. They did Batman in Hell's Kitchen, or a Bat in Hell's Kitchen. The artwork is phenomenal. And then they had the Devil in Gotham. Oh man, it was so good.
Oh man, that's something else. Just what I need to add to my missing comics list.
Yeah, the Batman Daredevil crossover. Like, I'm not really a big Daredevil fan, but for some reason that pairing is magnifique. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
I will have to find that.
Yeah. Sorry, we went off topic. Okay, Les, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Off topics.
DC is adding some more DC's finest trade paperback reprints to their collection. 4 more, I believe it was 4 more, have been announced. DC Finest Batman Red Skies is scheduled for a September 2nd release, which will collect stories from Secret Origins number 6, Batman Annual number 10, Batman 386 through 400, and Detective Comics 553 through 567. One that no one really saw coming was DC's Finest Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle challenges the Red Knight. And this is collecting some of the Charlton stuff, which I guess DC must own now.
Yep, they own the rights.
Yep, Captain Atom from 1965, issues 83 through 86. Blue Beetle from 1964, issues 1 through 5. Blue Beetle from 1965, issues 1 through 5, plus issues 50 through 54. And Charlton Bullseye, issue number 1. That's scheduled for an August 12th release. The third one up is DC's Finest Events Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. And this isn't the actual 12-issue miniseries of Crisis. These are the tie-ins that tied into Crisis. So you get tie-ins from Swamp Thing, Batman, Detective Comics, Justice League of America, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, DC Comics Presents Infinity Inc., The Fury of Firestorm, All-Star Squadron, Crisis on... You get the first 4 issues of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and the Losers Special. That is scheduled for October 21st. And then the final one, and in just a moment I'll show you some cover art too, DC's Finest Justice League of America, The Return. This is the Detroit era Justice League. And it collects Justice League of America 241 through 261, Infinity Inc. issue 19, and Justice League of America Annual number 3. That's scheduled for an August 5th release. As I said, I'll show you and present some cover art because that has been shared as well. I think the cover art's pretty strong on these. Let's take a look. There's the Batman one.
Oh, wow. I like that.
That red is a great striking background.
It is. It is.
And then the Blue Beetle.
Oh, wow. Very.
Oh, the OG, Ted Cord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Very Carlton Comics. Yes.
Yep. Crisis on Infinite Earths. And then the final one, the Justice League.
Oh, they went with like the 90s Justice League.
No, it's the Detroit era from the end of Volume 1.
Yeah.
Isn't that early 90s? Or no,
that's
late 80s.
Mid 80s.
Oh, late 80s. Yeah.
Look at that Vixen outfit. Look at her hair. Wow. And look at Zatanna. That's when she had those big high leggings. And, oh my gosh.
The Perez costume.
Yes. That weird amulet thing on her head.
Yeah.
I was like, why has she got this amulet on her freaking head?
I thought it looked like an armadillo.
Yes, it
did. Boy, I'm glad they fixed Vixen because that's awful. That's bad. Yeah, like the cat ears, whatever.
Hair thing.
Yeah.
Also, I just found out about this the other day because of Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy. He did a little short on his channel. There are DC Comics Kinder Chocolates. But they come with DC trivia cards. And so, of course, I find out about this, and I'm like, I must find these. So I started talking to some friends, and my friend found some at a Five Below, but he lives over on the West Coast. So I went to my Five Below. They had Kinder, but they didn't have the DC ones. I looked at some convenience stores. I found Kinder. I didn't find the ones I needed. Today I wasn't looking, and look what I found.
Did you find them at like a chain store or some local mom and pop? Okay,
Quick Trip.
Okay.
So I haven't opened it up yet, but I thought maybe today I would open it up during our stream, and we'll see what character card I'm going to get. And there's trivia questions in there too. I think there's 3 questions, and I've seen examples of other people's cards. They are so super easy, it isn't funny.
Well, for us that collect things.
Yeah,
but for,
yeah.
like, a normal child, they'd be like, well, I don't know what that is.
Should I open now or should I open later in the stream?
Your call.
Yeah.
I tell you what, let's open it now, find out who the card is, and we'll do the trivia
Okay.
at the
Yeah,
end.
I like it.
So you got to remind me to do the trivia, okay?
Yes.
Now, obviously, I'm hoping for Wonder Woman. That's the one that I want.
Probably be Batman.
Anyone want to make a prediction? Mr. Fridgeart told me he thinks it's going to be the Joker card inside here.
I'm going to say Batman.
I'm going to agree Batman, I think.
Okay. And first I'll say hi to Kenneth Bird. So,
Hi, Kenneth.
and this way I'll have something to eat during the retro review. and Magic Lasso on chocolate is a good thing.
Ooh.
So we're opening it up. Let's see if I can just make myself a little bit bigger. There's my card right there. It is Supergirl.
Oh.
Supergirl.
Okay, we'll have Supergirl trivia.
Okay, now I got to take a quick bite of the chocolate. Tell me what it tastes like.
Okay. Oh, they're individually wrapped. Oh, that's nice.
That's neat. That is.
I thought they were going to be like a Twix thing, you know?
Like
yeah.
a square bar.
Yeah.
Like a Kit Kat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Now we're getting little Kinder ASMR chocolate.
That's little breakable pieces.
First ever candy review on the retro review.
I haven't met much milk chocolate that I didn't like, but it's all right.
Yeah. Cool.
It's all right.
Cool.
I mean, am I going to throw this out? Hell no.
You're also not going to give it away either. You're going to eat it.
I'm going to eat it. Okay, cool. So trivia coming yet on the show. And my friend Mr. Fridgeart, he got 2 Supergirls.
Nice.
So
was it a different question or was it the same?
No, they were the same cards.
Oh.
So, and Gary B got, I think he got Aquaman. I think that's who he got. I'll have to go back and watch the video, but that's who I think he got. So I'm looking for Wonder Woman. Any other news?
Is she even available?
Well, I would assume so. I mean, she's one of the big 3, and she's on the package.
Okay. Superman, because she's on the package too.
Yeah, there she is on the package.
That'd be funny if she was on the package, but like not available to get.
Don't say that.
Well, there's never any Shazam characters. Like, I never get any of the cool stuff.
I saw a great Shazam image today that you did not like.
I did like it.
You did not like it. Your quote was, let me find it.
Yeah, you're right. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's blasphemy. That doesn't count. That's heresy.
Is it an older piece of artwork or is it a newer one?
It's very modern.
Oh, okay.
And makes no sense at all.
Incidentally, Old Wolf messaged me to tell me that it was John's Comics with Kids that did that omnibus that he was thinking of earlier on Batwoman.
Okay.
So, yeah.
John, where's John? He could have spoken up and said something.
I think that they're doing their role play thing right now.
D&D.
Yeah, they're pretending to be cool
right now. So this is an abomination, is what Signature King said.
And I stand by my statement.
So I'll just show it real quick. He didn't like that.
Dislike. Okay.
He didn't like that.
Are you guys familiar with the game DC Universe Online?
Yeah.
It's been around for ages, it seems like. Well, every couple months they come out with a new episode you get to participate in, whatever. Well, one of them recently was Harley Quinn takes on Darkseid. I'm like, are you serious? Harley Quinn is going to beat Darkseid when Superman struggles, but Harley Quinn's going to go marching in there with a hammer? What? No problem. Like, come on.
Squirrel Girl and Dazzler can take on Galactus. I mean, anything's possible. This is it's comic.
No.
Comic books.
I like my comic books based in reality. Harley Quinn is a street level villain like the Joker. That's where she belongs. Keep her there. And people get confused. It's not like I dislike her as a character. I dislike the director. They're shoving you in your face like, oh, she's good now. Like, she's with the Justice League. She will never be with the Justice League. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Comic books based in reality. I see. Thank you. Finally. Yeah.
The animated show right now is great because she's not a hero. She's a villain trying to do hero things and failing miserably and not
see, and that's okay.
And
that's okay.
The greatest thing in the world.
See, in the Snyderverse, she was bad. Margot Robbie played a bad Harley Quinn. That was a really good interpretation of the character. I like that. Like, she didn't like Batman at all. And she just, what did she say in the second Suicide Squad movie? Like, oh my gosh, Harley Quinn, you're here. She's like, yeah, I got road rage in a bank. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's an evil thing to do. Like, that makes sense to me.
I think Gore has the right point. He would definitely hand her over to Granny Goodness. And then
what would Granny Goodness do with Harley Quinn? She can't even be part of the Furies.
That's the thing is she would try her best to conform her and then finally just like send her back to
yeah, get her out of here.
She'd go, hey, look over there. What's that? And then push her into a
boom tube, right into a boom tube. I believe it.
Any other news to talk about? Otherwise, we'll segue into our retro review. Anything else, Tony?
I got nothing. I'm excited to see Lanterns.
Sounds good.
So a lot of news coming out.
Cool. I thought we'd start with one of Joel's first picks, and we're going to do mine first, Signature King. So it's the DC Comics Presents Annual number 4. So before we get into Batwoman, that's right, we're going to have some Superwoman. So while Tony pulls this up, tell us, Joel, why you chose this book as your retro review. I think I know why. And at first I was like, why did he choose this? And then I started reading it and I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense to me. But you go ahead and I'll see if I was on the mark at all.
So this is actually one of the first DC comic books next to Wonder Woman I got. And I just thought it was cool. Like, oh, wow, there's like, instead of being Supergirl, it's Superwoman. And I really thought it was like Supergirl grown up when I first saw the cover. And I was like, wait, this is a different person. And oh my gosh, her outfits are insane. So I loved it. And then I realized it was actually as I got older, I realized, wait, this is actually the second appearance.
It is, yeah.
And I recently found the first appearance a few months ago. Actually, I found it at Washington SummerCon last summer. So I was happy to finally get that. But yeah, I just thought, this is a really cool idea. Like, and then like, the cover showing 3 different versions of Lex Luthor and one of them's female. It was, yeah. And then rereading it for the show, I was like, oh my gosh, this has got.
What year did that come out?
85, I think. 85, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, it was great.
It's the annual.
Yeah,
annual number 4.
It's DC Comics Presents Annual number 4.
That's right.
Annual number 4. Got it.
It has so many titles on it. Like there's the word annual, DC Comics Presents, Superman and Superwoman. It's one of those long titles.
Yep. All right, I'm going to get us kicked off with our retro review. There is that
that's
cover
the right
that
one?
we were.
Okay.
Yep, that's the right one.
Right.
That's the cover that we were just talking about. And our story tonight takes place in Metropolis, July 4th, the year 2865. A television reporter is talking about they're waiting on the arrival of the legendary Superwoman. She's going to be the Grand Marshal in this year's Independence Festival. And in this date and era, people know everyone's secret identity. And here's Superwoman. She hasn't turned into Superwoman yet. But she's Professor Kristen Wells, and she's talking with one of her associates. He's like, just let the public love you. And she's like, I haven't done anything to deserve it. But she's going to go because she doesn't have power, she's using the technology of the future to aid her in what she has to do. So she makes her arrival on the scene for this parade. On the next page, she will grab a hold of the flag and she will start flying it over the nations. She is Kristen Wells, who history ruled would fly at the side of the legendary Superman. So it says she's now an ancient heroine at home in the far future. She's regaled as a celebrity, though she is yet to make even a second appearance as Superwoman in the 20th century, where historically already records say that she will receive a Welcome to Luthor Con 3, which is the name of the title of the story. So, yeah, that's the other part. There we go. So she's talking to her potential love interest here the day after 4th of July. And they're holding hands, and he's like, hey, you're a star. And she's like, this really isn't of my doing, though. And he's like, well, history picks its heroes. And she's like, hey, be careful. I'm the historian around here. But his name is Barry. And she's like, you're right, Barry. I've been dodging fate long enough. She says, I spoke to the secretary of the Continuum class night, and I'm going back to the 20th century tomorrow. And he's a little surprised that she's doing that, let alone so soon. So over in this council, they have this emergency request for a real time tomorrow, traveling back to the year of 1985. And they're approving this time travel visa, which generally takes a little bit longer, but it's a special circumstance this time. So Professor Wells is going there to get her visa. She doesn't even stop to be properly introduced or anything. She just walks in through. And she says, hey, essentially, do you have my visa ready? He says, yes, all it needs is my validation. And he validates it. He hands her her visa, and she should be set to travel back into 1985. Or we'll see as the story progresses. So back in 1985, there is Superman. He's out there when he realizes that actor Greg Reed is in a car that's about to be turned into a sandwich. The truck's backing up. There's no room for him. This truck doesn't know that he's behind it. He's about to get squashed. Superman flies in, saves the day. Greg Reeves kind of hits his head, though, and he's not completely out of the line of fire. At that exact same moment, here's Kristen Wells arriving near the waterfront in Metropolis. But she's having a memory problem. She's not sure what she's doing there or what that attaché is or what's in the case. Some thugs see her and start harassing her a little bit. And she wonders herself, what is it that she's hauling? And she opens it up and she sees a costume. So in the meantime, we see Superman is flying Greg Wells, the actor who has a mild concussion, to the hospital. And he looks at Superman and he says, who are you, a person or a mirror? He's like, I'm the real Superman. You're the actor, remember? And we cut in between Kristen walking through Metropolis and Superman, the real Superman, talking to Greg Wells, who's an actor that plays Superman in that world. And he was supposed to be headed to LuthorCon. So instead, since Greg has done Superman some favors in the past standing in for him, he's going to stand in for Greg. And he has this great line that's very Victor Victoria-ish, where he says, so I thought I'd appear as Greg appearing as me.
So he meta.
He arrives at LuthorCon.
Cosplay ever.
Yeah.
Yes. He arrives at LuthorCon 3, and he's looking for, because he has to let everyone think that he's, the actor, Gregory Reed. He's looking for the person that could help him out, the special events director, and he doesn't necessarily find them. So he starts walking through the con. So for the third year in a row, and it's gotten bigger every year, we have LuthorCon 3, a celebration of the exploits and adventures of the greatest villain of their time. Predictably enough, the convention's gotten bigger each year. So around here, some people are a little bit more fans of villain or fans of doing Superman harm. Now we're cutting back to Kristen. She's in that funky outfit, walking through the streets. And this kid says to her, oh, dress the way you are, you must be going to LuthorCon. And she's like, what? And so he hands her a flyer, and she's like, well, I have this costume. Maybe that's where I'm supposed to go. So the events of LuthorCon are being watched over by the real Lex Luthor in a very dark, mysterious place he's watching, where the real Superman meets the special events director. And Superman is shocked for a moment to realize that that's a woman. And she's like, hey, good of you to notice. Do you like the hairdo? And she says, we've got a busy day for you. And he says, well, let's get started. Where do I need to go? Now we have Kristen, who has put on her Superwoman outfit, and she's walking through the con. You'll see that people are looking through different types of comic books, including in Action Comics. There's an Infinity Inc. Noticeable. There's an Atari Force noticeable. Superman comic book. She asks someone that's dressed up like Batgirl why we're all here. And then she's like, she starts to get a little bit of an explanation, because this Batgirl cosplayer says, "We're here to party down, Superwoman." And she's like, "Oh, I got to start using the hip lingo." So Superwoman replies, "Hey, chick, no sweat, you know. I mean, like, these are really groovy threads. Get me? Got to get some of that outrageous action in the peanut gallery now. Dig you later." And the Batgirl cosplay is like, where did she step out of the 1960s? Superwoman heads over. She finds a food vendor who's serving a Lex burger, a quarter pounder without the top bun. And she's talking to him. He suggests maybe a Superwoman surprise. He's like, "It has transparent ketchup. You can't see it, but you know it's there." On the main stage, they're introducing to LuthorCon 3 their special guest of honor, Gregory Reed, alias Superman, which we all know is the real Superman, but they don't know that. So people are booing and hissing because they love Lex, but they don't love Superman. And they talk about they got a lot of things planned for today's panel. So she's encouraging everyone to stay in touch. Meanwhile, far away in the Atlantic floats a rocky island that used to be part of a lost world called Lexor. And there's a backhoe that sits beside the job that has lately labored through. Something has been unearthed from the rock's unearthly cache of minerals, and we see that looks like some kryptonite. We head back to LexCon, and Superwoman is talking to some different people, and she sees the Lex Luthor on stage holding up the kryptonite, and she says, "I thought it was, illegal to have green kryptonite." And he says, "Oh, that can't be real kryptonite. Years ago, a freak explosion caused a chain reaction, and that made all of the kryptonite on Earth harmless," which is a flashback to a previous Neil Adams Superman story. But he doesn't let her know that he actually has a real piece of kryptonite. Outside, we have Clark Kent, who is taken a turn, who's disappeared from a moment from his Gregory Reed as Superman duties to cover the third annual con for the news. And he starts not to feel good as the chef passes by. That's because he's got the real kryptonite inside of there. And he's like, "I haven't felt like this since I was exposed to kryptonite." He's like, "I just need a moment." Superwoman sees him, and she knows that's Clark Kent, and some stuff starts to come back to her, a few small pieces. And then we get a recap of DC Comics Presents Annual number 2. And what's great about this next page is they use the narration from the original 1950s Adventures of Superman TV show to discuss it, or to introduce this. A strange visitor from another time with powers and abilities far beyond those of earthbound women and men. Superwoman, who can change the course of molecular streams, teleport across vast distances in the wink of an eye, and who, as Kristen Wells, professor of history at a 29th century university, taught her students about the greatest of all 20th century heroines who fought for true justice and the American way. And then far in the future, Kristen says, "Let history bear witness that no American has ever bowed to a tyrant," which is something that Superwoman once said, but no one knew who Superwoman was. So she traveled into the past, not with real powers, but with all this technology from the future to find out who Superwoman really was. And she came to find out that it was her. She had no idea. So that's essentially a recap of what we get of her DC Comics Presents number 2 appearance. So she's dressed as Superwoman in the present day now, and she's walking through. That chef who's got the kryptonite sees her and decides to take the rock and hit her with it, and he knocks her out cold. This will cause a little bit of amnesia to her. So the stuff that started to come back to her, she's starting to lose again from being hit on the head. She wakes up and she's not exactly sure what's going on. In the meantime, we have a big problem because we have a ship and a whale that are about to collide. Clark Kent's interviewing a Toyman cosplayer, and when he realizes what's going on, so he finds an excuse so he can get out of there and change into Superman. He heads over there to try to take care of this imminent collision that's happening. On the next page, we'll get an awesome splash of Superman lifting up the whale. Look up in the sky. It's a fish! And what happens is the whale blows through the blowhole. All the water starts coming down and soaks all the cosplayers. So Superman says, that was a pretty good stunt you pulled on all those Luthor fans there, Nellie, who Nellie is the name of the whale, I guess. He's like, I'm going to have to get my Clark Kent clothes a little wet so I can play into this when I get back in there. We cut back now to the future to see what's going on, where we have Barry, who is Kristen's boyfriend that we had earlier in the story, and he's talking to the man that gave the permission and sent Kristen back into 1985, and he realizes that there was a problem with what he did, and it wasn't set up correctly. It wasn't a warp he sent her through, but a spinning funnel, a storm in the continuum. And that's why she's not going to be able... He says she will remember when she was back in the 20th century and what happened to her, but she won't remember the future, the 29th century. She won't remember. And he's like, well, how are we going to get her out of there? And Barry's pretty upset with him, and it's going across the news that Kristen apparently has lost her memory in a time travel accident, and the Department of Continuum has no comment on this. Going back to 1985, Clark is back covering the news story. We have Kristen. She went into the Daily Planet, I believe it was, and she starts seeing these people, and now some more pieces that she previously had when they started coming to her are starting to come back to her. We're intercutting over again at LexCorp for the big moment that everyone has been waiting for at LuthorCon 3. They are going to do the kryptoniting of Superman. Now, they think that they're doing this with an actor who's playing Superman. They think it's fake kryptonite that they have, but it's that real piece of kryptonite that they have. If you go down another page, you'll see that it starts to affect Superman, and he gets weak, and the audience is loving it. They're thinking, this is fantastic. This guy is doing it just the way he's supposed to. So in the Galaxy Communications newsroom, they're looking at some of the footage that's being sent, and they're like, this is great stuff, for our newscast. So now we have Kristen, who's like, I've walked down this street before, I know it. And she's feeling the sense of deja vu. And then out of a helicopter, these reflectors are all of a sudden being launched, which we'll play into in another moment. Back at LuthorCon 3, all the Luthors are surrounding Superman as they're doing the kryptoniting of him, and he's begging them to stop. He's saying, I'm the real Superman. You just got to stop. Back in present day, Kristen is opening up her attaché and sees that she has this costume. At the same moment, there's a jewelry heist. When she sees that gives her the instinctive reason to turn into Superwoman and start flying out and stop the jewelry heist. She does so successfully. And as she flies down, she's by the con again, and she decides to head in. When she does, Superman, who they all think is an actor, he is still being, essentially kryptonited. And he's begging them to stop, saying he's the real thing. He sees Superwoman, and he thinks this might be the real Kristen. Just go down a few more pages. And
stop there for a second. I had to go. Apparently, this site sees this continuation as a completely different story. So I had to go.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
So you can go back a page. So Superman sees Kristen, and he recognizes her, and he's like, I need help. And this sparks something for her, and she knows that she has to get rid of that kryptonite. Now on the next page, this portal opens, and they realize they've got the real Superwoman, and they're like, is that the real Superman? But before they can question any more of it, the two of them fly off and even fly right through the building. They're hearing these voices, which is coming from those things that were thrown out of the helicopter that I mentioned a few moments ago. Superman, we knew you would escape, but it was only a postponement of the inevitable. You and your friend have a choice. And these voices are yelling, too late, too late, too late. And essentially he has to, if he wants to save the city, he has to sacrifice himself. And they start firing on him. So Superman and Superwoman have bridges to repair and trying to figure out a game plan. You can go down another page or two. And they're hearing these voices. Have I not made my point? And of course, this is all coming from the real Lex Luthor, who's been watching through. He wants a sign of compliance from Superman, or Metropolis will go the way of the bridge. It will get destroyed. And so Superman and Superwoman are talking about a time funnel. And she knows at this point all the stuff's coming back to her, that she's a time traveler and that she was caught in this continuum storm. She says, we have to get him to zap Metropolis in exactly 43 seconds, so act like you're going along with it. Keep going down. And so Superman decides, okay, he's got 43 seconds here to try to make Luthor convinced that he's going to go along, and we get this countdown going on. Superman has one final message to the world that he's going to sacrifice himself to Metropolis. Luthor's getting ready to hit the button on the next page at the exact precise time that he's supposed to, right at 00. And when they hit that, they come up with a plan that Superman will take the east and west side and try to save the people that are trapped in Metropolis, and Superwoman's going to do some help as well and save people, and you get a montage on the next page of them saving people who've fallen out of their cars or who are about to drown, and they're trying to get them out of this dimension. In the meantime, Luthor is wondering what gives, I can't see the city on my, and then bleep, he just kind of bleeps out. The people are thinking, some of the people that were at LuthorCon are thinking that this is all special effects that are going on, and it's the best LuthorCon ever. Back at the hospital, Superman takes Superwoman to introduce him to Gregory Reed, the movie star, and he's honored to meet them. They wanted to check in on how he was doing in the progress. And Gregory Reeves says, glad you did. It looks like some film studio is going to have to find a Superwoman clone now. And she says, oh, Jill Hastings, that's who it's going to be. Jill Hastings is the actress who will become the famous Superwoman in the movies. Superman says as they fly out, terrific, you're getting your memory of the picture back, or the future back. And she says, slowly a little bit, only time will tell. In the epilogue, we're back into the future, and there is Barry again. We can see that some time has passed, and he's looking at a Superwoman statue, and someone's saying, well, she was a friend of yours, right? And he's like, yes. And she was lost in this time travel and how much he misses her, when all of a sudden, Kristen appears to him. She has come home. And he is shocked to see her on the next page. And she says, hey, let's take a walk. And she tells her friend of an ancient age where men and women wore their greatness as easily as they wore their clothing on their names, where a strong arm and a quick wit could turn the tides of time. And it implies that there's many more adventures that Superwoman had that would probably be foretold in the future. And the story comes to an end.
Very nice.
Yeah. So why don't we do the Superman Gen 13 story next, which Joel is going to do. Joel, tell us why you picked this story.
I'm going to try and not get too emotional. So I have a friend that I met a few years ago, in the last 2 years, who also loved comic books. And he would go to events with me and chat with me about comic books. And he really loves Superman. So he always would tell me about stories that he loved of Superman. Now that's a picture of him. His name's Mike. And he passed away 3 weeks ago.
Really I'm so sorry.
And hard, but one of the things he did for Christmas, for my birthday, he was like, oh, I want to get you something for your birthday. I'm like, no, you don't have to get me something. He goes, yeah, I do. Oh, I know what I want to get you. And he gave me this 3-issue limited series with his favorite character, Superman. And it's a crossover when Wildstorm was just being bought or being brought into the mainstream of DC Comics. And it's Superman Superman Gen 13. Not versus, just Gen 13. And I thought I would share part of the story. I'm going to share issue 2. I thought I was going to share issue 1, but I accidentally put issue 2 in the stuff. So it's all right. You get the middle of the story.
Hey, Tony, if you want to pull up the assist for us, we'll let Joel.
Yeah, I don't see it as available.
Oh,
is it called Superman and Gen 13?
Just
Superman / Gen 13.
Or / Gen 13, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Superman / Gen 13. Came out in July of 2000, so 25 years ago.
Nothing.
That long ago. Thanks. Oh, before we get started on this one, I just want you guys, if you didn't notice, that last comic book you read or shared, Jerry Ordway did the inks on it. He didn't draw it. He didn't write it. He did the inks on that. Isn't that crazy that Jerry Ordway, who's really known for comic books, was like just inking, just did some colors.
You said issue 2, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Awesome. I found it.
So, the issue starts where the last issue left off, where Gen 13 are on a are going on a vacation, and they decide to go to Metropolis. And my brain's blanking on her name. Is it Caitlin? I forgot her name. believe it's Caitlin. She's like their leader. She really loves Superman. Well, just like with the last story we read, she gets amnesia. She doesn't remember who she is. She has all these superpowers, and she thinks she's Supergirl. Her friends don't know where she is. They're like confused and lost. So the first half of the book is them trying to figure out what to do, how to find her, what would be the best way to find her. But also, they're talking about Superman and how much they don't think he's really cool. Well, last issue, they got to meet Clark Kent and Lois Lane, which you see here on the screen. They're talking with him in a diner and discussing their disgust for Superman and thinking he's just this glorified Boy Scout who doesn't know anything about the real world. They know the real world because they're teenagers. Who, for some reason, by their guardian, was given $1,000 and told to go to Metropolis on their own. I don't understand why you would do that with teenagers, but that's the premise of the story. So they go along talking about their feelings about him and about what they dislike about him and why Caitlin loves him and thinks he's the greatest thing in the world. And Clark is trying to be try to say that, oh, like Superman's a good guy without giving away that he is Superman, because they have absolutely no idea this is Superman. Then we cut to Caitlin in a Supergirl costume that she bought at a party city-esque kind of place last issue. And she thinks she needs to help people. So she keeps trying to find ways of helping people, but she doesn't know what's going on. And they're all asking her, well, why are you taking the subway? Because she's literally in the subway trying to get somewhere. And they're like, what's making you not fly? And then she comes up with this idea that, oh, it's red kryptonite. Definitely, the red kryptonite's making it happen. But she really wants to help people. So we cut to the next page, and Lois and Clark are talking about what's going on and trying to figure out how they can help her, how they can find her. And Lois is like, listen, I think I know how we can find her, but let's talk about why you're bothered by these teenagers not thinking you're cool and thinking you're like, they're not like, teenagers, they don't like adult authority. And Gen 13 is known for not liking adult authority. That was the whole premise of their storyline, was not liking adult authority. Well, of course, as a friend of mine once said, they don't realize they're in the thing they're in, so they don't realize they're in a comic book about Gen 13 Superman. So they don't realize that also the Gen 13 kids have also made it very unclear that they are superpowered. So they don't even know. He doesn't know that they don't know that he doesn't know that they don't know. Does that make sense?
Sounds like everybody's lost.
Everyone's lost. And these kids are like, they were expecting to have a really fun time and not think about Superman. But Caitlin, she still is, but she doesn't really know what to do. And she decides, I think I need to help people, because that's what Supergirl should do. She does have super strength, this character. She cannot fly. So she tries to use her super strength to help people in different situations. But as you can see in the next page, that backfires. She's trying to stop a runaway train and actually causes more destruction than helps. This ends up being something that Lois Lane figures out. She makes a connection that can help them find her. The team, of course, doesn't understand this either. They of course, Lois Lane's an adult. They don't want to follow or listen to an adult. But she tries to get across to them that this is important and they can help, but they should still get Superman involved, and they don't want to get Superman involved. But Jimmy Olsen, of course, shows up and says, well, I can get a hold of Superman for you guys, because he's got that fancy wristwatch thing. But if you look at the next few pages, I'm just going to summarize the next few pages because it gets a little crazy. It's her trying to help people and all the hijinks that go into her trying to help people and how it goes so bad. And the police and everyone just are like, could you just stop? Could you please just stop? But she doesn't seem to get it. And they do end up meeting, then of course the team ends up meeting Superman and asking for his help, but they really don't want his help. And Lois makes it clear that if he can't help, I will help. So they agree to let him help and let Lois Lane help. And then, of course, as I said, we get more hijinks with her trying to help people, like trying to get a cat out of a tree by shaking it really hard. I was expecting the cat to die, but instead, the tree falls into the building and starts. So the next phase, we realize every hijinks that she gets into, they arrive too late at. So Superman has to clean up her mess. And the team are trying to help, but they don't know how to help either. And just that's essentially what happens. They just keep trying to clean up her messes. So that's what happens for these next few pages. And it's really great because the kids see what he's doing. They actually get into the fray of it because the building's on fire. And they decide to help him. And they see exactly who he is and what he's about. That he is about being there for others and helping others to make sure that they're safe. And then this ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger because, well, the real Supergirl just happens to show up, and she's just a little, let's just say, not happy with what's going on. So I probably went a little faster than you did. Sorry, buddy.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So yeah, there's the real Supergirl, and she's just a little unhappy with what she's seen in the newspaper. And well, next issue, that's when things get a little interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Dun, dun, dun. And
yeah,
then,
me,
so we have some Batwoman as our thumbnail suggested tonight. So, Joel, you gave us a little bit of the Superwoman experience and a little bit of the Khan experience, which so ties into your branding.
Yep.
You gave us a little bit of Supergirl. Now you're giving us some Batwoman with issue number 0. Tell us why you picked this story.
I picked this story because it's a really great jumping on point because Batwoman had just recently become more of a figure known in the comic books, but she didn't have her own series yet. And they decided to start with a 0 issue to give you just a little understanding of where she was coming from. This is from her first volume. She's had 2 series on her own. It was a great way to introduce her and show to the audiences through the lens of others what she was and what she's about. And I thought it was just a really good, and just I love Blackman's art and the way he drew panels, and the whole series has these great panels where it's not your normal just block, 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 block. It's just this fluidness to it that I thought would be great to show. So that's why I picked it.
Okay, cool. I'll say hi to some people quick, and then we'll let Tony kick off his review. We have Christopher Barker here. Hi, Christopher. How are you? That sounds like, let us know if that's a good read, too. Once I don't know if you started reading it or not, but once you do, come back and tell us. Ben Compton is here as well. And hey, we got Bobby here, too. So great to have our friends also joining us. But Joel has told us why he picked Batwoman. Signature King, take away that retro review.
So this reads a little weird. I want to forewarn everybody. It's very non-traditional. And you're right. You're saying that it's different. And it's very short. It's very short. Yes. But that's okay. I got to point out Amy Reeder. I like Amy Reeder. I have a signature of hers, and so does Mr. Lasso. She's a very nice person to talk to. So and I think she did the cover on this one, too, if I'm not mistaken, or at least the inks. But anyway, I digress. There's a variant cover. So it's told from the perspective of Batman, and he's spying on Batwoman. He's assessing her combat skills, her detective skills, the way she identifies her targets. One of the bubbles here, it says, I still haven't verified Batwoman is in fact Katie Kane. It is, but at this point, he's just speculating. He doesn't know for sure. So beyond a shadow. And like I said, I can't really break into it because we'll be here all night reading these, but it's just Batman talking to himself about Batwoman's abilities to do this or that, or, she's really good at doing this, or she's really terrible about doing that. But yeah, he follows her into a big warehouse where she's, beating up a bunch of bad guys, classic Batman stuff. He's able to assess her martial arts skills, where she was severely outnumbered, how she handled people with firearms, which I thought was pretty unique. It's a different perspective, and I gotta admit, I've never read this before. I was aware of this issue, but I've never even looked through it, and I'm kind of kicking myself now. And Batman's thinking to himself, well, her father is a Colonel Jacob Kane, so maybe that's part of how she got this training, because her dad is, this special forces commando person. And that kind of makes sense to me. And he kind of defines her combat style as a bruiser, so to speak, where Batman's kind of more precise to incapacitate people. Batgirl's not really that kind of fighter. She just goes in and just starts swinging, so to speak, which I think that's probably a fair assessment. Where he follows her to like various nightclubs and whatnot. He is able to track her down to what school she goes to, how she's getting her education, how she handles kind of like these big bads, so to speak. Talking about, he's also like predicting, like, okay, if she gets into this scenario, she's probably going to do X. And then she gets into that scenario and then doesn't do X, she does Y. So Batman is saying, like, look, this is very unpredictable. Like, I don't know if I would trust her in a tight situation, but if I needed like some backup to like beat up some bad guys, like I'm definitely going to call Batwoman. She can totally handle herself. She's got her own like kind of rogues gallery, and Batman kind of goes undercover a couple times in this issue, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, we get a closer look at some of her fighting styles, and it does look pretty different than Batman, where Batman might not necessarily severely injure somebody, or Batman will just straight up cut your arm off. That's one way to get rid of the knife. Maybe not the way Batman would do it. And here we have let's see if I can see it down here. We have here in this panel over here off to the side where, some dude's missing an arm. And it looks like it's pretty clean. So, yeah, she's a little bit more violent than Batman is. And if I remember, it's either in this volume or the next volume where Batwoman becomes a vampire. I don't recall. Joel, do you know by chance?
Sorry, I was muted. I believe it is next volume.
Yeah, that's my favorite version of Batwoman is vampiric Batwoman. I don't know why, but it just fits so well.
Yeah.
Her red hair, her red bat symbol, her red cape, like it is very vampire-esque.
It does.
She can do it pretty well. But yeah, Batman's keeping a safe distance this whole time, just kind of analyzing her style. And at the end, final assessment conclusion regarding her civilian identity theory proved correct. Katie Kane is Batwoman. Her training is excellent, and she has all the right instincts. More important, she's one thing that I can't teach, and that the hole inside her that can't even be filled, no matter how many criminals she takes down, it gives her the drive to do this. It's time. She and I had a serious discussion about the future. So, and this is where Batman decides, okay, you know what? I'm going to bring her into the Bat family, and we're going to make this thing proper. So, I think it's pretty cool, and it kind of leaves on a cliffhanger. We get some art here at the end, but that's really it.
Yeah, it's a really like little ash can almost of what's going to happen.
It is, yeah.
I love that they did that, and just the way Williams and Reader went with her series. That first series, very like dark and gritty, and also more on the like mystical and magic side of things in Gotham. Whereas with Batman, it's more just like all of his rogues galleries, and they're very practical bad guys. Whereas with Batwoman, she got more into like the darker like monsters and mayhem and magic kind of people that were in Gotham.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Joel, you did some good picks for us. I really enjoyed what you picked. Yeah, that's cool. Any thoughts for the whole panel about any of the stories that we read tonight that we want to add in?
I would say the Superwoman was probably one of the more fun to read, because if you paid attention to the background, there was a lot of Easter eggs. It was Easter egg heavy.
Yeah, it was.
Well, as a kid, when I'm reading it, I don't think about that. But as an adult, I read it and go, wait a minute. What's that? Oh, wait, what's that over there? And is that something? It's like really good.
Yeah.
There was a
lot of
DC
potential.
logo
Right.
in Superwoman, which I thought was
yeah.
pretty funny. Yeah, it's a hidden DC logo.
There was a lot of potential for that character, but I think the reason that we didn't see this character anymore is because Crisis happened.
It did, yes.
And that totally eliminated this character. And you know what does she have, 2 appearances?
Those were her only appearances.
Yeah, 2.
But like that last one was like, oh hey, here's these things she did.
Yeah. It definitely it was setting up that you're probably going to see more untold adventures, and it gave you it was like a backdoor pilot, so to speak.
Yep.
So, but we never got any of that.
Yeah, now we have Lois Lane as Superwoman.
Yes, that's right. They've had 2 versions of Lois Lane be Superwoman. One was the Rebirth era when it was a different Superman and Lois Lane, and then that Lois Lane died. So then the original Lois Lane took her identity. It's the weirdest thing.
Even though it's Lois Lane assuming the identity of Lois Lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how different it could be.
But I haven't read the newest Superwoman one. I know I read the last Superwoman comic book because it was still a minute, and I just think he's a really great creator and artist. So
cool. Since we've been talking about super things, I think we should do our trivia right now.
ooh,
Go for it.
Okay. There's 3 questions. Who wants question number 1?
I'll go first. Yep.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Signature King.
Yep.
Oh, this one's hard. This one is
Never
so hard.
mind.
What is the relationship between Supergirl and Superman?
I like to poll the audience. No, I'm just kidding. That would be cousins. They are cousins.
Correct.
identical
Yes.
cousins. No, wait, that's a different show.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Identical cousins.
Okay, Mr. Joel, do you want question 2 or do you want question 3?
I'll do question 2. Let's see what we get.
Where was Supergirl trapped before she arrived on Earth?
Oh man, there's 2 different answers. Oh shoot. Okay, well, one answer is that she was at the bottom of the bay in either Gotham or Metropolis, and the other one was she was stuck in a meteor shower of Krypton. That's the ones I know of.
That's not the answer they gave.
No, what is the answer? Oh, I didn't know it. Oh wow.
Chance to steal. Chance to steal. Let's say Phantom Zone.
Yes, Phantom Zone is what
Yes.
they said.
Phantom Zone.
Yep. So, in all fairness, I'm going to tell you the question I answered myself when I was looking at the card.
Okay.
And I said something different than what they said, in all fairness. So, you're not alone, Joel, okay?
Okay.
Question 3 is, what is Supergirl's nickname? I said something completely different than what they said.
Nickname? I don't
Does it
think
mean
I
her,
even know.
like her alter ego? Is that what you
No, like her nickname.
Oh,
Like Superman was the Big Blue Boy Scout.
yeah.
It's Maiden of Steel, I think, isn't it?
That's what I said. The Maiden of Might.
Oh.
Maid of Might is what I said, but that's not what they said on the card.
I couldn't even begin to guess. I don't even know.
What did it
It's
say?
so incredibly easy that it became hard.
Oh no.
You ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
The Girl of Steel. I mean, it's so easy that it's hard, you know?
Oh my god. That is
I said the Maid of Might because that's what I remember.
I was like
but-
Maiden of Steel or Made of Might. Yeah. That's funny.
so,
Good times.
I mean, I could, just FYI, have another bar.
Look at you with your surprise.
Do it.
And now that, see, I wasn't going to open it because I didn't want to have all this open chocolate, but now that I see that these are individually wrapped,
It's
I don't
totally
feel
safe.
bad about opening them up.
Let's
Okay.
see it.
This is the only bar I have left. Okay.
Okay.
Predictions on who I'm going to get. I'll still say my friend Mr. Fridge Art says the Joker. I'm going to think positive and say it's Wonder Woman.
I'm going to say Batman again.
I'm
This
gonna
kid's so common.
say Superman.
Okay. If it's Supergirl, you know I have to send it to copy 801 care of the Electric Band-Aid. I tell you what, I'm not even opening this up yet. If it's Supergirl, I will send it to copy 801 when he sends me a message saying, send my Supergirl, bitch.
Oh.
How about that? So someone, either he'll have to watch the rewind or someone will have to tell him to watch the rewind. How about that? Does that sound good?
Sure.
I like
Okay. Now, if it's not Supergirl, too bad, copy, you're out. Here we go. Let's find out who it is.
Drum roll.
Okay. Oh, I haven't looked. It's still.
Fifth Batman. Joel said he's going to send me that big poster.
No.
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
Flash.
Yeah,
cool.
That's cool. Okay. Sorry, copy.
Yeah, you lose.
Yep.
Loser.
Okay.
Bummer. Well, interesting.
Well, let's do the Flash trivia then.
Okay, let's do
Might
it.
as well.
Okay.
Might as well.
Joel, what number do you want? 1, 2, or 3? I haven't looked at any
I'll
of
go
these.
with 3.
Where does Barry Allen keep his costume?
Oh, in his ring.
Yep, that's correct.
Because that's where everyone keeps their costumes, right? Is that where you?
Yeah.
That's where you keep your crown, right? Signature King. You keep it in your ring.
Absolutely. In a ring.
Just when you're ready, you
Yep.
throw it out and put it on.
Yeah.
Okay, Signature King, you want question 1 or 2?
1, please.
When he's not fighting crime as the Flash, what is Barry Allen's profession?
He's a crime scene investigator.
They say forensic scientist, but I mean that's
Forensic scientist, sure.
Yeah,
I guess
that's
it
the
all
same thing,
is
so.
forensic.
Depends on the decade you were watching TV shows.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean some
See,
people
look,
would think
I know
this
it.
is Wally West, so yeah.
Oh, look,
And
there's,
then-
oh,
It opens.
careful!
I
Don't
guess
let
it'll
it
be
drop out.
It fell out so fast I didn't even see it. Question 2, what city is the Flash's primary base of operations? Central City.
Central City, yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
No, that's good.
Pittsburgh. Is that what Pittsburgh?
Okay.
That would be a good show. Just like doing a show about like quizzing people on like the cities in DC and what they're connected to in the real world.
That would be cool.
Yeah. All right. So we're advancing now into our book show. And I'll start out by saying that you at home can participate in the book show as well, just by sharing a cover with us on Instagram. You don't have to do it right now. If you want to do it throughout the week, that's cool too. Just make sure to use the hashtag Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Who would like to go first with the book show, or do you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay, tell us what's going on in your channel and your book show, please.
So on the channel, I'm officially out of the doghouse with YouTube, so I can now create content that people can actually see. Before, man, I was struggling to get like double digits. It took me a long time to get to 10 views. So, and it's weird because like 30 days before that, every time I submit a short, it was like 8,000, 10,000, 11,000. I had one go to 68,000 views, and I was just making, I think I made, on that one video, I made like 300 subscribers. So it was a lot. And then I go to like, all the way down to like struggling to hit 10 views. So now that I'm officially out of it, I'm going to create more shorts. Still waiting on my order from CBCS to come. That's 33 books, so there's a lot of content in there. And some cool stuff is coming up, so I can't really spoil it. I want to, but I won't. So stay tuned for that. But for book show, since I took the Batwoman books, I was trying to find a couple different Batwoman ones. I settled on this. Technically, it's not Batwoman, but it is only because it has one of the most coolest signatures. A person that I think has the most sleek and minimalist signatures, and that would be Batman the Drowned from the Dark Knight's Metal version, and it's signed right there by Philip Tan, the artist.
Wow.
So I really like his signature on that. It's so cool. It's very minimalistic, and it just, I don't know. I like, and when I think this is one of the first ones I got from Philip Tan in Baltimore like 2 years ago. So I was like, okay, all right, yeah, like I like his signature. It's very cool.
I've met him.
Yeah, that was the first time I met him. Was in 2 years ago or last year or whatever.
Cool.
But super nice guy, very humble. Signed my stuff. I think I got like 1 or 2 free. And that was like $5. Then you have people like Francis Manipul was like $15 out of the gate for the first one.
I think the most I've spent for a signature was 40. Who was that? I've forgotten who it was. It was some creator. But most of the creators I've been to lately have not made me pay. But
That's cool.
Larry Hama was like $10, I think. Dodson
Well, if there's
charge anything.
If there's a people that are there with like a charity and they're representing a charity, and it's like put whatever you want in there. At an absolute minimum, I do $5.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to put anything in, but I always do $5 because like it's going to a good cause. Like, you know, how can I not do that?
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of them, the older creators, they'll do the Comic Defense Fund, but
Comic Defense Fund or what is it? The charity for Superhero Fund, right?
Mm-hmm.
Superhero something.
Initiative.
Oh,
Superhero Initiative. That's what it is. Yeah. That Joe Shuster was very involved in. So
right.
I always feel obligated when I see that. I don't know why, but I do. But yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, cool. Joel, what's going on in your channel? And then we'll have you do a book show.
Well, as I said earlier today, I just went to Emerald City Comic Con, and I have 2 videos that will be coming out this week that are related to that. One will be some of the cosplays I saw, and then the other will be just me going to the con, showing you what it looks like, because it's in a new venue. It's its second year in its new venue. They built a new convention center in Seattle area, and so it's a better fit for the con because it's all in one building. As before, it was in like these 2 buildings, and it was a weird labyrinth to get the things. And this time, it's all in one building. It's all like just straight up and down, like floor 0 to floor 5, and it's all right there. So I'm going to show a little bit of that in the video. And then while I was at the con, I also hung out with some friends in our Star Trek uniforms, and one of them found some Star Trek themed liquors. And so I'll have a little parody of us being Star Trek people drinking the alcohol.
It sounds fun. Sounds fun.
Yeah. So that's what I have coming up on my channel, as well as my usual. Every Wednesday, I have a short that appears that shows what I got at my comic book store that week.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Great. And what would you like to show us for a book show portion? You can show a few things.
I have a few things to show. They're not books themselves, but they're
Okay.
they're from the comic books. The
Sure.
first one is something I got back in 1998 at San Diego Comic Con. It's not an ash can. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's displays and shows the artwork for a comic book that came out that year. It's called JLA Titans, and it was written and drawn by Phil Jimenez.
Very cool.
And I've got the editor, Eddie Berganza's signature on it.
I remember those. They used to have those sitting at comic book stores for you to flip through. Yeah.
So I got that at the con, and I found it again recently. So I need to find something to keep it in to keep it from getting any more like ruined, because it's gotten a little stuffed and rolled. But it's really cool because it's essentially the comic book, and it's just Phil Jimenez's art without any coloring and some of the dialogue that Devin wrote, and it's just super cool. I just think it's really cool. They don't really do that very much anymore, at least at the con.
No, they don't.
And the other thing, it fell down here. The other thing is Batwoman related. It's actually something that someone made for me, so no one else has this. It's an original. Because a friend of mine really knew that I liked Batwoman, so she made a drawing for me.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, very cool.
Without there it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. Oh
no! And now it's smashed.
slippery fingers. But other than that, when it comes to the comic book itself, this year has all been about trying to collect all of Volume 2 of Wonder Woman. So I've got about 60 books left to find.
Let me DM me a list of what you're looking for.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that would help.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I actually picked up 3 comic books. I only got, surprisingly, only 3 comic books at a comic book convention. Because Emerald City had maybe 5 or 6 comic book vendors, and it was a lot of other stuff there on the vendor floor. But Artist Alley was great. I got so much stuff at Artist Alley. I could probably spend another hour just on the stuff I got at Artist Alley.
Nice. I'm glad you had a good time. Go ahead, Tony.
I was going to say, you say you went to a convention, only got 3 books. Well, I've went to a convention and have come home with less books than when I've attended. You're submitting to like CBCS or stuff like that.
Right? Yeah, because that happens. Like I think CB, I forget which one it was there at the con, but they had their booth was busy. Their booth was busy with people getting stuff. But yeah.
Sure.
So Joel, I wanted to ask you, because I would regret not asking you this during the show. What is the best DC comic character cosplay you've ever seen at any convention? You didn't have to do it, but if you did it, that's cool too. But just the best that you've ever seen.
That I've actually seen in person?
Yeah.
Well, this weekend, actually at the con, I was at I think I posted in my Instagram. If you look on my Instagram under Joel The Geek, I posted some pictures of people at a meetup that was the DC Comics meetup. And there was a guy dressed as the Question.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And he had a mask on his face that was just fully looked like flesh. So good. I actually went up to him and I was like, I don't know how you made that mask, but it is amazing. Like, there was a whole bunch of people there. The funniest thing is there was only one Batman. It was a friend of mine, Cody Cosplay. But like, there was like all these Robins, but like, that was hands down my favorite. It was just like, you don't usually see people dressed as cosplay as the Question, but like,
yeah.
I was like, you got the face covered, the hat, the big long like coat. It was great. It was great. But yeah, I think there's a picture of it on my Instagram if you look for it.
Awesome. Cool. I'll definitely check that out. So cool. As for my channel and my book show portion, what's on the channel already for this month of March, International Women's History Month, I'm featuring, again, I've done this every year that I've done the back issue of the week, female characters from my collection. So currently there's a Catwoman back issue of the week for International Women's History Month. And I'll continue doing that throughout the remainder of this month as well. So look for that. My comic book editions video that came out this past week showed 3 different DC series that I was able to finally complete. And you know what a great feeling it is when you finally complete that title.
That's the best.
So I showed those, and then I showed some books that kind of came out maybe from the fall of 2024 through this winter that, for me, I had to like mail order these things because I couldn't find them. I would go to comic stores and I didn't have them pre-ordered or anything like that. I just couldn't find these books or these covers that I was looking for, a specific cover in a couple instances. So that's what's on my video right now. What's coming up is another back issue of the week YouTube short tomorrow morning. It's going to be a Marvel character, a Marvel female character for International Women's History Month. My video on Tuesday that's coming out is a very important video. I have made a big change to my collecting, and I'm ready to talk about it publicly. I've talked about it privately a little bit, but it's time to say what I'm changing about my collection or my collecting and why I'm doing it and how I feel about it. And I didn't hold back. I just said it the way that I felt it. So if you're curious, that video will be coming out Tuesday afternoon. So that's on the slate for what's on and coming to my channel. Also, last week on John's Comics with Kids YouTube channel, we did another Avengers versus JLA book where we take the 2 issues and battle them against each other from the Silver Age. And that's always fun doing that. So that's what's currently going. As for a book show, I pulled a few things. I pulled the book. I know Joel showed his copy a little bit earlier, but I do have a copy of the book myself that I retro reviewed. Yeah, it was.
Oh my God.
I also have a copy of her first appearance.
I have that too.
Yep.
Woo, yay.
And then I wanted to show something else. I wanted to show a Superwoman that isn't this character and I don't think it's Lois Lane either. But in this one issue of Superman, Volume 1, issue 349, we have a Superwoman, a Superboy, and a Wonder Warrior.
Wow.
And a gender reverse issue.
Yeah, they're from the gender reverse universe.
Well, the interesting thing is this story is not in Elseworlds, it's a canon story. And you'll find out what villain made this possible, and Superman's kind of thinking he's losing his mind.
Interesting. So
I thought since we were talking Superwomen or Superwoman, she would be an interesting one to bring into the mix tonight.
That would be Earth 11, is the reverse universe.
Oh, is it Earth 11? Okay.
Earth 11, which keeps in alignment because the negative Earth 11 is the gender reverse of the Dark Knight's Metal.
Yep.
So it keeps. I'm a big multiverse nerd. I don't know why, but
I love the multiverse. I love learning about all the different aspects of both multiverses for both publishers.
Yeah. It's well, Marvel has like what 600 universes. Yeah. DC only has 52.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Someday I will actually feature this on the Retro Review. In the meantime, if you go to Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe's YouTube channel, I AOK'd her a couple years ago a copy of this book and asked her to do a review on it because I wanted to see what she had to say about the book. I just recently rewatched her video on that too, and I just got the biggest charge out of that.
I'd love to see it. Send a link to that to me.
I will. I'll send you a link. But it's this is quite the interesting story to say the least. So, and you even get a little bit more of the JLA. Wait till you see a Black Condor, which is the male version of Black Canary, but he's still wearing fishnets. Oh wait, no, he's not. He's not wearing fishnets, but
dang it.
It's close. Anyway, yeah.
Good times.
Joel, you've been an absolute treat. I am so glad to have you on the show tonight. I hope you'll come back and do the show again and spend some more time with us.
Love to.
There is a link to Joel's YouTube channel in the description for this video. Please sub him up. Let's get him to that 700 push at least, since he's only literally in spitting distance, and then let's go beyond that as well. Sub everyone up that was in the chat, everyone that was in the live chat. You guys are awesome. And we always appreciate you stopping by. If you watched on the rewind, we appreciate you as well. Tony, we're about to take it home. Is there anything else you want to say?
Shazam.
Shazam. This has been the greatest DC comic show on YouTube, Fanboys Live and the Retro Review, and we'll see you next Sunday.